When I think back to some of my fondest memories in my time playing video games, for some reason I always come back to my times browsing through Nintendo's many digital storefronts. Nintendo hasn't been shy about their support for purchasing games through their consoles. They helped lead the charge with the Wii Shop channel, allowing users to purchase their line of Virtual Console games or even WiiWare titles. Nintendo's digital shop would later rebrand with the release of the 3DS, becoming the Nintendo eShop. What makes this different from the Wii Shop channel and even the DSi shop is that now you're not limited to small-scale games and retro titles here. The introduction of the eShop allowed users to finally download full-scale retail games completely digitally, and the overall color of the marketplace switched from blue to orange, which some might say isn't significant, but trust me, it was a game changer. Even today, the Nintendo Switch operates with a Nintendo eShop, orange color and all. But why did I always gravitate towards this seemingly small aspect of Nintendo's consoles? Wouldn't a normal kid, actually have more fun playing the games they bought the console for? Well, it seems like now more than ever, a functional and efficient digital shop is essential for consoles to compete in the modern gaming landscape. Some people just don't have the space to store physical games, or they may lean towards owning everything digitally since it helps streamline everything. Even though I owned all my games physically, and continue to do so, what was it about Nintendo's old storefronts that kept me coming back? While my family was always pretty well off, my brother and I were never just given games out of the blue, only really receiving new ones during Christmas, our birthdays, or on the rare occasion we built up enough allowance to take a trip to GameStop. But that didn't eliminate my desire for new games as a whole. When I was given my 3DS on Christmas of 2011, it came pre-installed with the Nintendo eShop. Up to this point, I had limited experience on the Wii Shop channel, since we had just gotten our Wi-Fi router set up and I was too young to understand what this Nintendo Wi-Fi connection logo meant on my Wii and DS games. But now, there was nothing stopping me from figuring out what the eShop was. For the first few weeks I owned my 3DS, I didn't have any 3DS exclusive games. I mainly just stuck towards replaying old DS games, face raiders, and making Miis in the Mii Maker. But I also utilized the Nintendo eShop to see all the games I could own, eventually discovering Ocarina of Time 3D and Sonic Generations, which I would get a few weeks later for my birthday. This fueled my love and admiration for the Nintendo eShop. I would spend so much time browsing, listening to one of my favorite video game music tracks ever. With all this praise I'm giving towards the eShop, you'd think I'd spend a lot of time on the Switches as well. But I think I've spent more time on the 3DS eShop than the Switch's eShop over the past year. And even though it's just as effective and allows you to download larger games faster, why don't I like the Switch eShop? It all comes down to personality. Starting all the way back on the Nintendo Wii, the Wii Shop channel was always more than just a digital storefront. Even just clicking the channel on the Wii's home menu sent you to something reminiscent of a home shopping network. A smooth, calming theme backing a series of colorful shopping bags before the channel's logo finally appears on screen. All this detail, and I haven't even gotten into the Wii Shop channel itself. You're greeted with a list of recommended titles as soon as you load into the app. The DSi shop does this as well, showcasing titles that fit genres you've been interested in before, or titles that are just popular as a whole. This is on top of an iconic backing song playing, one possibly as iconic as the Mii channel's theme. This is one of the primary reasons people like to look back fondly at this simple shopping channel, since the music just added a ton of personality to a channel that already fit the Wii's aesthetic with its white and light blue color scheme. This same aesthetic and the presence of backing music would carry over to the DSi and eShop, although there, the options for virtual console games is gone, and the only thing available are DSiWare titles. One thing that I think is paramount in mentioning about these online storefronts is the download screen. See, back in the late 2000s, you couldn't just exit an application if it was in the middle of downloading something. So rather than force you to sit through a boring screen with a bar that filled all the way up to 100%, Nintendo decided to make it interesting for you. With the Wii's heavy emphasis on reviving classic titles through the virtual console, the download screen actually has Mario run by as the title is being downloaded, collecting coins and punching blocks before your title is installed to the Wii. The DSi had something extremely similar, bumping up the quality of the character models a bit and adding a bunch more Mario characters who throw these giant blue blobs into the app to indicate that it's downloading. While these download screens may not be as effective as a standard download progression bar since they don't give you an accurate completion percentage on whatever it is you're downloading, they add so much character and personality to an aspect of online gaming that a lot of people just forget about as soon as they're done. Nintendo would rebrand their online storefront under the Nintendo eShop label for their next wave of consoles, the 3DS and Wii U. Introduced in this generation was the ability to access funds across multiple consoles linked under the same Nintendo Network account. Before, you could only add Nintendo points to either your Wii or DSi, and you wouldn't be able to use them on any of your other consoles. But thanks to the introduction of the Nintendo Network ID, not only are funds more understandable as currency rather than the Nintendo Point system present on the Wii and DSi, but if you add money on your 3DS, you'd be able to buy games on the Wii U with it, so long as they're linked with the same Nintendo Network ID. Similar to the Wii and DSi, these shops would have some essential music to enhance your browsing experience. What's interesting is that they didn't stick with just one track for the entirety of the console's lifespan. Nintendo would often mix up the tracks you'd hear in the eShop. If it was close to the holidays, you'd hear one of the festive-themed tracks that they'd put out. And that was on top of a wide variety of different tracks that would cycle in over time, just to add a bit of variety as you progressively check in on the eShop over time. Not to mention the little jingle that plays as the 3DS eShop loads, changing the colors of the bags to indicate that everything is getting set up. What sets the 3DS apart from the Wii U is the eShop mascot. With the rebrand switching everything from blue to orange, Nintendo decided to create a little mascot for their 8th generation handheld. This is the eShop bag, modeled after the orange bags you'd see in the application's splash menu. You'll see him every now and then as you browse and download games. Similar to the Wii and DSi, the 3DS eShop has a specific download screen, where like in the DSi, colored blobs fill up the title to indicate its download process. But now they're brought in and dropped from the ceiling, with the bag mascot occasionally getting in the way. This download screen was the main thing that kept me coming back. There's just so much life in a screen that some people may never even see. Or if you're downloading a particularly beefy title such as Pokemon Sun and Moon, you may see it for hours at a time. The 3DS certainly wouldn't have suffered without it, but it helped show that Nintendo was taking into account the people who don't buy their games physically, even before everybody began to abandon physical games. While the Wii U didn't end up implementing the bag mascot or the download screen, they supplemented it with a small game you could play as the eShop loaded. Here you'll see a bunch of iconic Nintendo logos, split into 3 parts, and it's your job to try and match them by pressing A at the correct time, kind of like a slot machine. And with how long it took for the Wii U to load things, you could be stuck playing this for quite a while. It wasn't anything substantial, but it was fun and was certainly a surprise the first time anyone booted up the eShop. All of Nintendo's digital storefronts were fun to visit, efficient, and a good part of their console's identity. So what did the Switch eShop do differently? Well, similar to the rest of the console, there's not much life in the system as a whole. The menus are bland with basic sound effects. Compare that to the Wii or 3DS, and these look like they're from two completely separate console manufacturers. This lack of energy bled into the Switch's eShop. What used to be a fun and reliable place to browse and buy games has now become an unresponsive, lifeless application that's designed for you to go in and get out as quickly as possible. There has been a supposed leaked Switch eShop background track that's been circulating on the internet, but I haven't found any reliable proof that this was actually supposed to be featured in the eShop. Although it does give off the same energy as songs you'd find on the 3DS and Wii U. Nintendo's digital storefronts used to stand out compared to their competitors. What's supposed to be just a hub for you to get more titles became something to look forward to visiting. Something you could just sit in and listen to the music, look at all the pictures and videos, even download free demos just to see the loading animations that played. I know I did that at least. I remember several occasions where I would hop in on the eShop, download a free demo, watch the download animation, and delete the demo just to watch the animation again. So what do I expect from Nintendo's next digital storefront? Well, I'm not going to be optimistic. Since the Switch's eShop isn't broken, there's not going to be any need to fix it. It's a fair assumption to make that they're going to keep the colors orange and white, since they carried those over from the 3DS and Wii U. But who knows, they got rid of a perfectly good bag mascot on the 3DS. The least that Nintendo could do is add some browsing music just to make the experience that much better. Something to breathe life into the new system, other than a phenomenal lineup of games like the Switch has. And optimize it a bit more. I know I'm not the only person whose Switch has had some difficulty simply navigating the eShop. I do think that the era of download animations is sadly over, since consoles are powerful enough to do all this stuff in the background, so there's really no need to have people look at a download animation. But I would never be opposed to getting a new one. It falls under a general issue that consoles now don't have the same life that they used to. But as the company that helped lead the charge with console personality, Nintendo gets held to a higher standard, especially since they're removing things for no good reason. Here's to hoping that Nintendo's new console can help provide endless memories for the new generation of kids who get to browse it. Don't do it. Thank you.